What is the connection between profit and loss account and balance sheet?
Very good question. See, profit and loss account is also called as income statement. It is called as income statement because it reflects what are your earnings and what are your expenses during a particular period of time. Suppose say you are maintaining a house, what are the expenses you got to incur on a monthly basis? You got to pay rents, you got to pay for your food, you got to pay for your tuition for your children, and there are other miscellaneous expenses. Suppose a total expenses for a month comes to around 30,000. So therefore, your earnings also should be at least minimum of 30,000. So therefore, you see on the one side we have the expenses, on the other side we have the income. So you get a salary of 30 or 40,000 or 50,000, where expenses are of about 30,000. So suppose say you have a salary of around 50,000, so that means you spend 30,000 and balance 20,000 is your monthly savings. So therefore, income statement is a statement of your earnings and expenses during a particular period of time. So to put it on the whiteboard, let us just say we can again draw a T chart. Here we can call it as an income, and here we can call it as expenses. Okay. So expenses, what are your expenses? Monthly expenses, you got to pay rent, okay. Then you got to pay for your food charges. Then you have some other miscellaneous expenses. Then you got to pay your tuition fees for your children, so on and so forth. So totally, suppose say your expenses for the month comes to around 30,000. Okay, and your income, minimum income should be 30,000. Suppose say your income also should be around 30,000. So therefore you see this is the income, and what you are doing with the income is this. So therefore it's called as an income statement, the statement of your earnings and expenses in simple form. It's also possible that your income is less than 25,000. Then if you are less than 25,000, maybe every month after month you have to keep on borrowing it, which you have to ultimately repay it in future. So for the time being, let us assume that your income is 30,000 and your expenses are 30,000, there are no savings. Suppose say you have an income of 50,000, okay, salary of 50,000, okay. Then what happens is here, what we do is here we put it as 50,000, and then the balancing figure we put it as surplus, okay, surplus we put it as 20,000. That means 30,000. I mean all the expenses put together is 30,000. You have surplus of 20,000, 50,000. This is the income and expenditure. So what is the connection between the profit and loss? This is if it is a company, the company same thing. The company will earn income by manufacturing goods, okay, or by trading. They buy the goods at a lower price and then they sell it at a higher price. But then they have to incur certain expenses like the rent of the premises. They got to pay salaries and they got to meet some other administrative expenses. So at the end of the month, what they do is they try to find out, they do the accounting and then find out what is their total income for the month and what are their total expenses for the month. If the income is more than if the income is more than expenses, then they make what is called as profit. If the income is less than expenses, then they make loss. Okay. So here you see, just like in the individual, suppose his income is less than the expenses, he can borrow money. So similarly, in the case of a company, if the expenses are more than the income, they will incur a loss. But this is possible only for a short period of time. Ultimately, they have to repay back their borrowing. So therefore, in the long run, they have to see to it that their income is sufficient enough to cover their expenses, as borrowing cannot be continued on and on, month after month. So now coming back to our question, what is the connection between profit and loss account and balance sheet? First thing we should know that the heading of the profit and loss account is profit and loss account for the period. Profit, we write here is profit and loss account for the period. So the period can be from 1/7/2015 to 31/7/2015. So it's always mentioned as for period. In the case of a balance sheet, what we do is, we always write balance sheet as balance sheet as on date. Okay? The connection is, you see here in the balance sheet, you have the assets here on this side, and then here you have your own funds and bank borrowings. Okay? Your own funds are something like 30,000. Your bank borrowings are around 20,000. So total is how much? 50,000. Okay? And the assets also something like you have some plant and machinery, etc. around 45,000. Okay? And then you have cash of around 5,000. So therefore balance sheet 50,000, these are 50,000. Now what the connection is, so let us suppose this balance sheet was as of 30th June. Okay? This profit and loss account is for the month of July. So in the month of July you made a surplus of 20,000. So in the month of July, if you want to frame your balance sheet, what you're going to do, this is a balance sheet for the month of June. But for the month of, as on 31/7/2015, the balance sheet is going to change because this month you made a surplus of 20,000. Because you made a surplus of 20,000 and this business belongs to you, this 20,000 should be added to your own funds. So that means now your own funds is going to be, in the month previous opening balance was 30,000, now it is 20,000. So therefore your total funds is going to be 70,000. Okay, and here your cash also is going to increase from 5,000 to 25,000, and this is also going to become 70,000. So the connection, to state in simple form, is if you make here profit or surplus, that will be added to your own funds. If you make loss here from the operations, then it will be deducted from your own funds. So this is the connection between the profit and loss account and balance sheet.
This presentation is brought by eduzon.in in the interest of students. Our mission is to educate, empower, clarify your doubts and evaluate. For more details, visit us at eduzon.in or contact 903 207 1100.